It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice.
Good night. Good night. Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, he's in trouble. Big trouble. So what's next for Nicolás Maduro? Hey folks, Mad Cat here. Welcome to the channel where we talk about politics, faith, current events, and controversial topics. Maduro is finished. He is officially in US custody, and what happens next will shape the country for decades to come. So let's break this down step by step. First, how did Maduro rise to power? In the 90s, Nicolás Maduro was a union organizer and leftist activist, and he eventually became the protege of one Hugo Chavez. After Chavez is elected president, Maduro quickly climbs the ranks of power in government. As Chavez is dying of cancer in 2012, he names Maduro his successor. Maduro formally takes power in April of 2013, and he becomes the head of an already very corrupt state, and he continues that corruption. He coordinates the actions of the Cartel of the Suns, which is a state-backed trafficking network inside Venezuela's military and its government. Now, Maduro used this network for leverage and loyalty and to exert control. So while Chavez was an enemy of the United States, an adversary, Maduro was a straight-up criminal. On March 26, 2020, Maduro is formally indicted by the US government on conspiracy charges and trafficking charges and weapons charges. And on January 3, 2026, the US military executed a massive extraction operation, and they got Maduro and his wife Celia. The operation had been planned for months, and it involved the CIA, the NSA, and Space Force. Now, the extraction has drawn major criticism from American media and international media alike. So let's ask the most obvious question. Is Maduro ever going to be back in power? Absolutely not. There's no movement, there's no protest, there's no advocates that can pave a path for his return to power. He's done. This was a one-way flight provided courtesy of Uncle Sam. At best, he spends decades in prison, and he likely dies here. So what about the international implications? This is the key point that people seem to be missing. It doesn't matter how Maduro was captured. Under US law, courts don't just throw out cases because the arrest was controversial, which means Maduro is not slipping through on a technicality. But this is where things get messy. Many countries like Russia and China and other Latin American countries have already vehemently voiced their opposition to the raid. They claim that it violated Venezuelan sovereignty. But international law doesn't get Maduro out of US custody. So we can expect more protests and more complaints, but none of that puts Maduro back in power. So who runs Venezuela now? This is the most dangerous part. Removing a dictator doesn't create stability, as our time in Iraq showed us. And for many, this sequence of events feels eerily similar. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is currently serving as the interim president, but in Venezuela, there are competing claims to power and military factions that benefited from the old regimes and groups that don't want reform at all. And this is the point where countries either smoothly transition while mitigating damage or totally collapse. So what is the role of the United States moving forward? President Trump has repeatedly stated that the US will stay involved during Venezuela's transition. Now, this likely means strict oversight, heavy influence over energy policy, and heavy pressure to install a cooperative government. So the truth is, nobody knows what lies in Venezuela's future. But what we do know for sure is that 100% Maduro is going to be convicted and imprisoned in the United States for the rest of his life. Best case scenario. And for the time being, Venezuela enters a transition period, hopefully a smooth one, and the United States stays deeply involved. Thanks for watching, folks. Comment, like, and subscribe for more content. Mad Cat out.